lost my dad a couple of months ago, and he had been in the Army Signal Corps during the Korean conflict. And he always said to me at the end, he had Alzheimer's, and you know how that goes. It was a long, slow slipping away of things. But the thing he remembered until the very end, when he was starting to forget names, forgetting the names of myself and my sisters, he still would be talking about when he was in the Army. And I remember he would talk about how he went into the Army as a boy and he came out as a man. It had a deep, deep impact on him. And I grew up going, he was a member of the VFW, and I grew up going to VFW halls with him and different events. And I learned at my father's side to respect those who had served our country in the military. Now, you're right, what you said in your opening remarks, there are a lot of people that are forgetting that. But I'm here to tell you that not every politician has forgotten. And this one has your back. And this one will always have your back. And that one's going to too. And always will. And it can't just be words. The reason I fought to get the KC-46 tankers to the Joint Base is because of all the missions at that base, the air-to-air refueling mission is the linchpin of all of them. And if we lost that mission, we might lose the base. That's why I fought so hard for those tankers. And they are protecting our men and women in uniform all over the world right now. I'm really proud that we got that done. And I was very proud of the defense bill we just passed. The highest pay raise for our troops in the last 9 years. A big deal.
I'm not a fan of the mics, but I guess I better do it because I'm getting old and first of all, I want to thank Congressman Tom MacArthur for being here tonight. I know he's got so many things going on, and I've learned a lot in this campaign. I've never run for office before, and when you serve as a public servant like Tom does, especially during campaign season, you have so many things to do. It's so tough. So him to take the time to come be out here and support me, I really appreciate it. So thank you so much, Tom. You're doing a great job. This is important. Every race is important, and obviously this race is very important for all of us. I've been so blessed in my life. As you heard a little bit about my life story about being the first in my family to go to college. I've been working since I was 8.5 years old, and I understand the value of hard work and that. But the decision I made when I finished college, I had joined the reserves when I was a freshman in college, was for a lot of different reasons. I don't talk about all the reasons always, but with a group of people like you, who it's been such an amazing honor to meet so many of you in the course of this campaign in different towns all across the state. I'm humbled to be with you, and I've heard so many of the stories of what the sacrifice that people have done and the issues that you face and what a contribution you made to our country to have it the way we have it today. We're so fortunate for all of you for what you've done for our country. And the purpose of today is to hopefully give you a chance to get to know me a little bit, but also talk about the tough issues that we face, because there are real tough issues when you talk about veterans. I was looking at an article today, New Jersey's still one of the toughest states for veterans, and we're going to get into some of those tough issues. And I'll tell you, I have thick skin also. So you don't have to worry, because when I was in the Marine Corps, we always said, if Marine wasn't bitching, the Marine wasn't happy. So you don't have to worry about being polite. We got tough issues, and we got to put them out there in front and make sure we confront them, because that's the problem in politics today, that we don't confront the tough issues. We talk about it on the sidelines, and people want to talk about it instead of dealing with it. We're too partisan. We put a party ahead of people. We got to change that. That's one of the reasons why I'm running, among a lot of different reasons. And I have to tell you, in the course of this campaign, as I've met so many good people across the way, and I've had some amazing events. I was fortunate. An officer that I served with was the military honored guest, retired Lieutenant General, at John Basilone Parade and dinner just in the last couple of weeks. I had a great trip to The Backward Flag Brewery outside of Fort Dix, a great place. You know, I've had so many opportunities to meet with so many different veterans down in Wildwood, the Vietnam War Memorial there. Just so many touching places. You really get a sense of, and it's all people behind these things, and so it's been a great experience. So I'll tell you a little bit that some of the stories I don't tell people generally, but to this audience, I want to share a little bit of my thinking of things. You know, I never thought of myself from coming from a military family because we didn't think about it that way. But I think we came from a patriotic family, a family that loved our country. My grandfather served in World War I and was one of the first members of the American Legion. They don't have charter members, but he was right there after World War I. My father didn't talk about his service very much, but he was in the Army Air Corps, served in England and Germany during World War II. My sister has two sons. Her younger son served in EOD in Afghanistan, did 4 years, got out. Her older son is 14 years in the Army. He's in the 10th Mountain Division at Fort Drum. He's going back to Afghanistan for, I think, the third or fourth time, maybe one time to Iraq on top of that in the last 14 years. In December, he's going away. He's got two little kids, twins, 3.5 years old. And I served in the Marine Corps, and I was so fortunate, one of the great decisions of my life. And both my sons are in the 1st Marine Division. Surprisingly, put two sons in the same regiment, put one in the 1st Battalion, 1st Marines, the other in the 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines. I guess they don't deploy together anymore. They're going on smaller unit operations. But you know, when I thought about serving, it was something that I was so blessed to go in to get to college. My parents couldn't afford to pay for me to go to college. They didn't have to pay a penny for me to go, thank God, because they couldn't afford to pay a penny for me to go. So I knew I was blessed that America was giving me a great opportunity. And so I knew I should give back and do it something bigger than myself and serving my country. But I have to tell you, part of it was, I gotta be careful how I say these things, but one of the things I really want from my sons, and for me, I wanted them to take me out to dinner in a uniform, because one of the reasons, I thought the Vietnam vet especially, almost uniquely, was so unfairly treated when they came back to our country. And that's one of the things I hope that I can do to make sure that in my service to the country when I win, to make sure that the Vietnam veteran, not to diminish the sacrifice and recognition of any veteran of any other time in the service, but I just felt so bad for the guys only a couple years older than me. I'm a Vietnam era veteran, but I never served in Vietnam. And they would come back and they were being vilified by the public for something that they had no role in decisions. They did what they were told and what we need.
First, I always stress this, I am a veteran first, but I'm going to speak on women issues, and we have a problem with it in New Jersey. So I took the poll, and this is what their main question was. We are currently serving at 18% of the military. New Jersey has 33,000 women veterans. Now here in New Jersey and nationwide, many VA facilities cannot provide gender-specific services. Ocean County women have our scheduled appointments, but we have to travel 170 miles there and back to East Orange, and the service is inadequate. I'm sorry? We're often forced to be examined by VA doctors who are not trained in women's medical issues and are referred to numerous outside facilities where we receive inconsistent care. At that point, we also, the VA fails to pay the bill. Our services are bounced back and forth, and we're thrown into collections. Which ruins our credit. It cannot be taken care of. I know this for a fact. So my question to you, and on behalf of the women veterans, is what are you going to do to ensure adequate gender-specific services are continually available in every VA clinic?
No, I think the first thing we have to be sure that everybody understands, women and everyone should be treated equally and fairly in every aspect of whether it's on active duty, the reserves, or in the Veterans Administration. And so, especially as women have taken more important roles and more significant numbers in the military, we have to evolve the Veterans Administration to be reflective of the changing role of women in the military and in the veterans community. So it's part of the whole plan, right, in the sense of saying we have to have a balance between if the VA cannot provide it in a way that is at the outstanding level, as good or better than anything that's achieved in the community, it shouldn't be doing it. It should be done in the community. So I think we have to challenge the Veterans Administration to say, listen, here are the issues. The world's changing, our population's changing, our needs are changing. What's your plan? What are you going to do at VA facilities? What services need to be provided in the community? What's the availability of that? What's the right trade-offs? And we should be treating women and men fairly, equally in all issues. And so whether it's, I think what the point you're raising is one that we absolutely all need to support to make sure we shine the light of day on it, especially because it's not as big a percentage of the overall expenditure to ensure that we get fair treatment for women veterans. We have to make sure that we treat everybody equally.
We'll be seeing you, hopefully,
Yes.
in March when we go to the Hill.
I'm looking forward to it.
Mr. Hugin, first, thank you for your service as well. And my daughter is running in the Marine Corps Marathon in 2 weeks, so thank you for that story. She is a Marine. I'd like to share with you, I'm pretty sure you're probably familiar with the Blue Water Navy bill. So that's one of the things I wanted to discuss here. I believe everybody's kind of familiar with this. Vietnam veterans were exposed to Agent Orange, and those who served in the offshore waters of Vietnam during the war drank, bathed, and cooked with the water contaminated by the Agent Orange. Veterans who served in coastal waters of Vietnam during the Vietnam War arbitrarily and unjustly denied benefits for illnesses associated with their exposure. To include veterans who served on ships presumed to be exposed to Agent Orange, but whose service did not fall between the specific presumptive dates. From 67 to 69, the United States government authorized the testing and use of toxic herbicides, including Agent Orange, to improve observation in fields of fire for American service members patrolling along the Korean DMZ, and deny hostile forces concealment provided by vegetation. We're all familiar with what this was used for. Agent Orange was also sprayed at the bases of Thailand during the war in Vietnam. The VFW calls on the Senate to swiftly pass H.R. 299, the H.R. Blue Water Navy bill. It was, where am I at here? It was actually passed in the House June 24, 2018, unanimously. Got hung up in the Senate. So my question is, restoring benefits for Blue Water Navy veterans who served off the coast of territorial waters during the Vietnam War. So we're looking to expand the benefits to Korean DMZ veterans who were exposed to the toxins before '68. Congressman MacArthur, was beneficial in this specific area as well. And there's also benefits that are provided to children who were exposed to Agent Orange in Thailand, or they're looking for that as well. So, Mr. Hugin, what is your position on this bill, and are you going to vote yes, and why would you vote?
I have to tell you, I have to research this more because I don't understand why it just wouldn't be unanimous in support. Especially, I think, financially, I can see we're talking about areas that the government's already paying for people's health care. I mean, you're talking about Medicare in terms of the years of service, in terms of Agent Orange offshore. So to me, it makes no sense that it wouldn't already be passed. So either I'm missing something. My easy answer is I'm obviously absolutely 100% going to support it, and actually glad to move forward to help lead getting it passed. Unless I'm missing something. It's just hard to believe. It seems so obvious. Something that passes bipartisanly in the House, you would think would be incredibly logical. Everybody should want to support that. So I must be missing something, but it seems so obvious to me we should be supporting it.
You should fit in this room pretty well, because none of us seem to really understand why.
Well, if I find out, I will get back to you early in January and make sure that unless there's something I'm totally missing, I'm going to be a leader to make sure it happens.
Great, well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, Bob, well, number 5. I have a two-part question.